A story is told best in film through uninflected shots, which David Mamet discusses in his book on directing, one of the most useful books I've read while researching storytelling throughout grad school. This is the most successful way to narrate a story, Mamet tells us, because that's the nature of human perception, to perceive two events, determine a progression, and want to know what happens next. He credits this theory to Einstein. What stood out to me in this book was this idea of our need to know what happens next. In this video, I will discuss what motivates me to use film as a medium, highlighting two important elements of storytelling: entertainment and artifice. I attempt to understand the purpose of fiction in our lives by creating emotionally charged film fragments. Recognizing that a significant part of this purpose is entertainment, I am primarily interested in the interaction between real life and invented story. These vignettes might imply to the viewer that it is a fragment of a larger story, but it is only because our human nature desires this presumed order. There is no larger story, no past, no future. The characters exist as lines on paper, and only through the short time the actors are playing them. They are as ephemeral as our memories. In narratology, Mika Ball refers to characters in fiction as paper people. When asked further about a story or the history of a character, I know I did my job well. It's interesting to me to have someone concerned about a character that's not real. I have been told in crits, I'd like to see now what happened to the boy as an adult. Yes, of course, it's just what Mamet was talking about. But the boy will never exist as an adult. With our ability to suspend our disbelief, we sometimes forget this. This desire or need that Mamet discusses is most apparent when considering our suspension of disbelief. It doesn't matter how much artifice shows, we look past that and believe. Aside from an aesthetic appeal, I bring an apparent artifice into my films to take advantage of this. Again, Guy Maddin influences my work. Maddin commented about breaking dramatic illusion and suspension of disbelief. He states, "But do you think a little child getting told a bedtime story has forgotten that he or she is in bed? No, dramatic illusion can be broken a million times, but you can still be completely under the spell of the story." Two films heavily influence the sets I create: Guy Maddin's Careful and Dogville, written and directed by Lars von Trier. Mika Ball's idea of paper people can be extended to their sets, which are clearly man-made and fantastically artificial. The mountain in Careful was made of paper mache, and McCain's potato flakes were used for snow. Trier's 2003 film Dogville was shot entirely on a soundstage. Dogville was the name of a small town set in the Rocky Mountains during the Depression. The town, the set that is, consisted of buildings and a few gooseberry bushes existing only by chalk outlines drawn on the black floor. This was contrasted by real costumes and a few spare props such as a door to a store, a chapel bell, and a few household furnishings. The idea of the town just needed to be suggested. Trier comments, "My theory is that you forget very quickly that there are no houses or whatever. This makes you invent the town for yourself, but more importantly, it makes you zoom in on the people." With both these films, the artifice is in your face, and still somehow the viewer is sucked into the story.
But I do believe I'll take your advice. Your hands are surely the most alabaster hands I've ever seen. Oh, here comes Tom. How lucky we are.
In this video, Birthday Requiem, I used a back projection of a wooden fence to set the stage for a backyard scene. I also used a few branches to give it some dimension. My concern here wasn't to make the yard look realistic. I could have just filmed the scene in a yard. My primary concern was to set the stage to tell a story and push the artifice. I also wanted to use Artifice within the acting. I recorded and dubbed in the voices after the video was edited and placed them slightly off their mark.
What'd you get her? I filled her pool with goldfish.
I encouraged the actors to deliver their lines in a phony or deliberate manner. I wanted the obviousness of the paper people to shine. I also thought this deliberate acting style would work better with the aesthetics of the obvious Artifice. A huge step that I took this past summer in finishing these films was to add credits. I originally steered away from it, thinking it would somehow take away from this look of memory that I had discussed earlier. All the while I knew something was missing. After adding the credits, I realized they represent what I am after within this medium: entertainment and artifice.